sending back to you, but everybody else sees it in HD.
Gotcha. Which stream do you have at your house?
What do you mean?
Like, where are you now? At your home?
Yeah, I'm at my house. Yeah.
Okay. What type of internet do you have? What kind of internet feed do you have?
So we got Spectrum fiber in here.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to pay a lot of money to have a fiber line ran into my home office, but it's decent. I mean, you probably got just as good in Lexington, to be honest with you.
Right. We just went to 1 gig
Uh-huh.
because the kids were complaining so much, and we're going to cut the cord on everything else. Doing YouTube, and it seems to be moving a lot faster.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm gonna mute this, and then we're gonna go on here in just a second.
Sounds good.
This is the center of the high school sports universe. The PrepSpin Podcast. We are PrepSpin. We are your school, your sport, your team, your game. Live from the BGO studio. Presented by Mingy Beef Jerky. This is the one and only. The man, the myth, the legend. This is the king of stream. William Warfield. William Warfield.
What's up, everybody? William Warfield here with you, and I'm getting some feedback from my phone here, so I'm gonna turn my phone down.
Sounds good.
John, I think we went on a little earlier there than anticipated. The servers wanted to start us a little bit earlier, but I got my good friend John Sims on here with me today, and without further ado, I'm going to bring John Sims onto the program. And John, how's everything going for you?
Hey, William, doing okay. Some tough times here, but we're doing okay.
Yes, sir, man. I tell you, I know right now more than ever, you're probably more busier during this epidemic because people have so much uncertainty right now.
William, we really are. It's some scary times for a lot of good people out there, and trying to help them through it. It's been trying, and it's been hard. So we're getting people through it, but it's been tough. I saw where the stimulus package today passed, and it looks like there might be some little relief coming for people, and it looks like the unemployment, and not only is the amount going to go up, but who can receive it's going to go up. So there's some good things happening to help people out, and that's people need to look to make things better.
Yeah, I know specifically in the industry that we work in, because we deal with a lot of freelancers, we deal with a lot of independent contractors, and a lot of those folks are now covered by that new stimulus plan. So that really helps those folks out, people that are near and dear to me that that help make all this thing turn.
Right. Yeah, and you're not kidding. That was huge because independent contractors generally don't get unemployment on that. So them stepping up and allowing that is big. And hopefully that'll help a lot of people. That's for sure.
So obviously you and I have known each other quite a while, and I want this show to kind of educate folks on the finances side of sports and that type of thing. You obviously have a lot of knowledge about finances, and I mean, because that's pretty much your business there that you deal in. But I know that you're a heck of a dad. You got kids that play in sports, and you're just an avid fan. So
that's right.
Yeah, so let's just talk about that. How did you get involved in youth sports first off?
I guess when my son was 4, he started playing t-ball and started helping coaching a little bit. And a good friend of mine, Marty DeGraff, we had a little team. And then, as they got older, kids kept staying involved. It's kind of a funny story. I've coached about everything, not very well, but I volunteer. Like you said, you just got to get out there and do it, Well, the first time my son was introduced to football, we had a kid on our team, tall, good-looking kid, blonde hair, and I made him a tailback. Well, guess who that kid was? It was Bo Allen. Uh, so his career as a tailback, although he runs the ball really well, his career as a tailback didn't take off. But man, he's a heck of a quarterback.
Yes, he is, man, and I believe Kentucky got a steal with Bo.
I agree. I think people have asked me, can he play at that level? I said, oh, he definitely can play at that level. And the one thing about Bo is you're not going to find a kid that works harder. He's there. He's in the weight room before everybody and after everybody. And he's a yes, sir, no, sir type of kid, always polite. He's going to do the right things. He's going to make the state proud, I'm sure.
Yeah, and he's such a, I mean, when you see him physically, I mean, he's all in shape. I mean, he's solid. He's solid as a rock. But you're right, man. When I go over to Lexington Catholic, I'm on campus. I've always seen Bo outworking everybody as far as in the off season when football's not even going on. You'll see him out there, on the turf somewhere working on things.
Right. I tell you what was a huge compliment to Bo was when he announced he was going through some different schools, Washington State, Georgia had offered him, Kentucky, and nobody knew where he was going to go. We were hoping for Kentucky, but they did an announcement at school, and I don't know if you were there or not, but he had about 400 kids there, and This is a kid who's probably the biggest man on campus, and that's just a testament of how good a kid he is. And that many kids show up after school when they have things going on themselves. To watch him and see what he's going to do, it says a lot about the kid.
Yeah, we were blessed to be there. We got a call from Kevin and David at the time, David Gadberry, who was then athletic director. They called us and said, hey, you guys do so much for the school, and we'd love to have you guys here to be a part of this. So we actually got to stream that whole thing live that day.
I thought you were there because I showed up too, and I remembered you being there. So, yeah, he's a great kid. He is a great, great kid. So Kentucky's got a great one coming for sure.
Yeah. So, what about this? We obviously, again, I think obviously is going to be my favorite word for this broadcast because I think I've said it like 3 or 4 times today. But, we lost basketball season, and now we're looking at possibly losing baseball and softball season.
Yeah, my son plays for Lexington Catholic basketball, and they had a great season, really proud of them. And to see what those kids did at Scott County, they went through a lot of adversity. Man, they played a heck of a ball game against Lexington Catholic to go to the state. And I was really rooting for that group of kids. And, I hope they get the opportunity. I don't know if they will or not. I know they haven't canceled at this point. But, man, what a travesty it would be for those kids, So let's hope that they get that. And then, like you said, baseball and softball, I guess there's still a little bit of hope out there, but you don't know. Boy, today would have been a great day for a baseball game for sure.
Oh, it's beautiful outside today, and I think it's going to be even better tomorrow from what I understand.
It sounds like it. So, we hope those kids get an opportunity, but, there's other opportunities hopefully for them throughout the year, especially with the baseball and softball, because a lot of them play summer ball, and that is a great thing for those kids, in talking about expenses. My son played a couple years of summer ball, and, man, that's a sacrifice for a lot of parents. It's not hundreds, it's thousands anymore. And you go out there and you commit to that, you better be ready to travel and be a part of it because, man, you get thrown in it big time.
Yeah, especially with year-round sports nowadays. Baseball became a year-round sport. Soccer's become a year-round sport, and it's almost at the point to where I personally growing up I like to play multiple sports, but nowadays there's a lot of kids specializing in just one sport, and it does go year-round with all the different leagues and AAU and things like that. What's your thoughts on that? And you mentioned about the cost of that stuff.
Yeah. I have a daughter who plays soccer, and she plays on the travel soccer team here in town. And, I went down and put pencil to paper one time and tried to figure out exactly what we spent on hotels, travel, the actually being on the team, the training, and the number was astronomical, And what I decided at that point is you do this because you love your kid and you want to be a part of something. And you want to work hard and be on a good program and be with some good youth. But it's hard because if you look at it and said, let's put all that towards college,
Yeah.
it doesn't cover it. I think that soccer's like a lot of sports, baseball, soccer, softball, they're partially funded scholarship sports. So it's not like, if there's 30 on the roster, you have 30 scholarships. You might have 11 scholarships, and they're trying to divvy that up between a bunch of different kids. So, I think you can definitely get carried away with summer sports, travel sports in the AAU circuit. My son's done AAU. We've done the baseball, and they're great organizations, and it's great for kids to be a part of. But if you're doing it because you thinking it's going to be a good investment to get your kid a scholarship, man, that can be a little shocking at the end.
It's there were some numbers out not that long ago that said a college coach only really gets to attend about 2% of the high school games because their season's normally going on at the same time that your season's going on. So I can see why the want to spend money on sports to try to get their kids noticed is out there. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, it's interesting. I did a little research this week, and I sat down and looked up some stuff, and I found some research on a Power 5 school, and the Power 5 school has about 30,000 students. Well, there's 18,000 academic scholarships in the school. There's 400 sports scholarships. And you look at that, and the numbers, about 18,000. I don't know if it's at 18,000 or 1,800, but 18,000 academic scholarships. So, you want your kids to be good athletes, but you also want to be good students. Football or basketball or baseball, it's hard, so it's tough. Now, one thing I have learned over the years, too, is if a kid wants to play college baseball or college basketball or college football, there's probably an opportunity for them. It may cost them some money, but there's going to be a place for them to play.
Yeah.
Emma from East Jessamine, Chris and Jacqueline's daughter.
Yeah.
She's one of the few. I have a niece who plays down in Corpus Christi, and she's one of the few that I know that actually got a full ride. And man, if you can get it, it's phenomenal. I mean, she's treated really well. Now she works really hard. She's not home at Christmas. She's playing basketball. She'll get a couple weeks in the summer. And it's kind of sad. They were heading towards the NCAA tournament. I think they'd won their division. They won their conference, and hopefully they're going to win the conference tournament. Mm-hmm. And they were going to maybe get to play in the NCAA tournament, and that got cut short too. So. And
this was Emma's senior year too, right?
That's correct. Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah, and they had a heck of a team. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear a lot about it. I always see, the lieutenant governor's tweets. I have to call her lieutenant governor. I know her as coach, but
right.
But yeah, I always see the tweets out there, trying to keep up with Emma because we saw Emma play over at East Jessamine, like you mentioned.
Right. Yeah. She's a heck of a ball player, and it's been a great fit for her down there. I think she's graduating. Really proud of her. And Emma came from a tough background. I don't know if you know that, but she had some real obstacles in her life.
Yeah.
And sports was one of those ways that she was able to fight out of that. And, her being involved in that just probably saved her life in a lot of ways and got her on where she's going. So, sometimes you might not get the scholarship, but you might get a whole lot more from sports than just a little bit of money.
Yeah, sports, from covering it since 2007, I've definitely seen cases where sports has been a great deterrent to keep kids off streets.
It really is. It keeps them busy too. I was talking to my son today, and I said, this might be the longest break you've had since you're 8 years old from sports, because he played baseball, he played football, he played basketball, and a lot of these kids right now are probably pulling their hair out because they're not used to sitting around. So you're right. And, and hopefully this will start back up for them real soon.
I was out back, me and the kids, we went out back in between shows. I had another show previously on today with Dr. Wallace Huff of BGO. And when that was done, my son wanted to go out back and throw a little baseball around. Well, it's me and him, but then we had some kids down a few yards down that wanted to play, and I was like, no, I can't let you guys play today. So we ended up giving them a baseball. It's tough, man, I tell you, because I would love any other time to pass baseball with other kids, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. And you think, oh, well, it's just a baseball. But then I thought about this. Well, you're sharing the same ball. I mean, it's going back and forth, you know. So it's like,
Yeah.
you know, and my wife is a healthcare professional. And, you know, and one thing we've talked about in our house a lot is how serious this is. It's, you know, it's bad stuff. So, you know, people need to be careful. The governor, I think, is doing a great job, by the way. You're talking about the lieutenant governor. You know, he's gotten in front of this. And, man, you know, we're going to get on the right path. It's just not – there's a lot of things that people are making huge sacrifices, and, you know, it's tough. You know, it really is.
Yeah, Andy's definitely done an outstanding job. I'm a big fan now. You know, when the elections was going on, I knew Andy was the right guy for the job, but, you know, seeing him in action and seeing what he's done, you know, only, 2 or 3 months into this thing now, and 3 months into this thing, and for him to be handed this on his plate going into, man, he has done an outstanding job.
He has. You know, it's funny. I knew he was capable. I knew he was a bright guy. I knew he had a good heart. You know, I'd seen him enough times. He was very compassionate. So I knew that he was capable of this. The one thing I have to say I did not see coming was all this Andy Bashir's a sex symbol thing. I did not see that coming at all.
Hey, they're gonna be tweeting about you after this show, man.
But it is funny. You know, people say, "Well, do you see this tweet or do you see this meme or whatever?" And I'm like, "I did," but they are hilarious. You know, they asked him about it. I don't know if he saw that they asked him about it. And he said, "Well, if it makes people feel good, it's okay with me." So, you know, and Andy's wife is a lovely lady. I don't know how she feels about him being a sex symbol now, but you know, I'm sure she's happy and very proud of what he's doing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've seen a lot of those memes out there online about that. You know, Mr. Rogers, a lot of that stuff. You know, and he does kind of connect. You know, especially with this new kid stuff that he's putting out there. That you know, my daughter, she's only 4 years old, but she was really into that first one, that preschool one that they put out.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. You know, and I actually have not seen the kid ones, but you know, we're like everybody at 5 o'clock. I try to be home so I can see what's going on, you know, and it is calming, you know. So, you know, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. We're going to get those kids back out there playing baseball like your son wants to do, you know.
Yeah, he definitely wants to. Maybe one day soon he'll be over there at Lexington Catholic. That's where he wants to play at anyway.
Now, how old is he?
He's only 10. He's only 10.
Good.
So, but he's really good, though. Really good. A lot better than I was when I was 10.
Yeah, well, we have it's funny, we have talking about college, we have a young man staying with right now, Santiago Peralta. I don't know if you're familiar with
the shortstop, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he and John Martin became close friends when they moved here. His dad came here for a liver transplant, and they didn't know any English, didn't know anything. Well, Santi and John Martin ended up playing baseball together. Well, they just kind of become really close, and with Santiago's dad's health problems, we figure, well, he might be better off staying with us right now. Well, he's going to go over and play at Eastern and play baseball. So,
nice.
You know, it's killing me because he's like my second son, and I can't go out there and watch him play right now. So, you know, it's tough.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, Lexington Catholic had approached us, you know, just actually, 3 weeks ago, I guess, right before the Sweet 16, and they were wanting us to do a lot of their home baseball games, you know, see if we can do some of those home baseball games. But, yeah, it's tough because I should be out at a baseball game right now, I feel.
I was going to say, now, well, what about you do the Legends games, I guess? We
do, yeah.
And, you know, and I don't know how they were planning on being, because I guess with minor league you don't know who's going to be there. But, man, that you know, that's another one that you look at. It's like that's a big part of the Lexington community right now. People going out to get to go to a baseball game. You know, I rode by Kentucky today and saw an empty baseball field. I thought, man, that's just tough stuff right there.
Yeah, and you know what really did it, I think, is the Reds were actually going to be good this year. They had considered the fourth best pitching rotation, and we're not going to get to see that. Plus all those bats. I mean, you know, that one guy that was hitting those home runs, the rookie last year, he kind of reminds me of George Foster. My goodness. Right.
Yeah, and they were. You know, as a Reds fan myself, you were hoping they were going to be good. You never know, but man, you need some of those seasons in there every once in a while. And like you say, it might have been. Hopefully, it's not taken away from them, but you just don't know.
Yeah. So you become a partner with PrepSpin. We've been partners for several years now. Why put it all back in the community like you guys do? I know you got a great service, bankruptcy attorney. You guys help people. With other services costing a lot more to get your bankruptcy started, you guys only start out at $78. That's a special you got going on there. But why put back so much in the community, and especially through us at PrepSpin?
Well, William, I remember a few years ago you kind of hit a hard time. Remember, your stuff was taken from your car,
right?
And you needed some help to kind of keep going. And I knew a little bit about PrepSpin. I didn't know a whole lot. You all did the football games for my son's middle school when they were playing in the state championship.
Yeah.
A few years ago, and I knew a little bit about PrepSpin, but I didn't really know how much you touched different people. Well, at that point, my wife said, we really need to try to help him out. So we helped him out. And then I reached out to you and said, what are some things that we could do for you? And you said, well, would you consider advertising with us? I'm like, well, heck yeah. And it's an affordable way. One thing I've noticed too is we reach more and more people every year.
Yeah.
Because you are getting a lot of coverage, man. People love to watch PrepSpin games. So it's really a way for me to try to help the grandparent who maybe can't get out, or the cousin who's out of town, or who knows, for whatever reason. You guys are out there trying to promote youth sports. You're doing it the right way. Man, your quality and your announcing is top notch. This is a big compliment. Earlier this summer, earlier in the fall, Friday night you had a game on for Lexington Catholic, and I can't remember which one it was. And UK was on the next. Those guys are PrepSpin. They do about than ESPN. So
you broke up just a little bit there. I
said my dad said you all do because you all had done the a game the night before, and ESPN had done the UK game the next day. My dad said PrepSpin does a better job than even ESPN's coverage. Your camera quality is incredible. So
I appreciate that. That must have been one of the multi-camera games that we did over there at Lexington Catholic, because we set up over there with I believe 3 cameras for quite a few games, and it
right.
did look really sharp. Yeah, I tell you what, we're blessed, we're grateful, we're all those great things because of your all support.
Well, no, and we appreciate what you do for us, and if anybody's watching and say, well, what can I do to help youth sports or get PrepSpin out there? Reach out to William. He'll do you right, man. He's very generous on how many times he get your coverage, and you care a lot about youth sports, and we appreciate it, William.
Well, I appreciate that. We were talking a little earlier. We were talking about the cost of youth sports as opposed to trying to get that scholarship out there. Now, one thing that we've been able to do on PrepSpin is when we throw those highlights out there, we've had success in getting kids noticed, not only locally but also on a national level. And your son was one of those kids. How about that?
That was something, he was a sophomore at Lexington Catholic and wasn't getting a whole lot of time, but he was getting enough time, and it happened to be at the right place at the right time. And I tell you, as a dad, there's been very few things that I've had the pleasure of doing is waking your kid up and saying, guess what, son, you're on SportsCenter.
I think we got that. I think we got all 3 angles of that play here queued up. Let's check it out.
All right.
Absolutely. Barnhart. Back to pass, throws it. Tipped up and intercepted. It was tipped up, intercepted at the 30 and down to the 30-yard line. It was picked off.
That's got to be
Yeah, we got to look at that highlight
buddy.
reel. That was
volleyball.
John Martin Sims with the pick, 31. Let's see. Here's Barnhart. He passes it. It's tipped. Then it's knocked up in the air, and there's John.
So Gary's explaining now. This is the raw footage here from the replay machine, but here's another angle here.
Okay.
and you see the tip, and a couple of different tips. It had a tip as the ball was being passed, and the young man on the ground. Who was that on the ground? Do you remember?
That was Henry House, who was a senior, and then if you didn't see it, Chandler Cottle, Chandler, he tips the ball first, so it was really touched by three people.
Yeah,
and it's funny, ESPN. It was kind of amazing because I don't know how much they work with you, but they knew names, they knew the full names. It was really an amazing thing.
Yeah, so when we send out those tweets, now I'll follow it up. ESPN, because of my work through the Legends, there's a guy named Carlos that works up there, and we've actually had a couple, believe this or not, student interns that came over from local colleges. A couple girls from UK ended up going to ESPN and working in the Bristol office. And, through them, they were able to kind of spread the word, hey, you ought to check out these PrepSpin highlights. Some of these might be cool highlights to show. And, we just kind of grown for that. And this has been going on, 10 years now. We've had stuff show up on ESPN. And I'm glad that John Martin Sims, JMS, as we like to say, that was just a fabulous play. And he's known for his defense on the football field.
Well, he loves football. I mean, that's where his passion is. And, Coach Smith has been really good to him over there, and Coach Perry before that. And they've given him some opportunities, and he loves playing the sport for sure. Let me ask you this, William. How many highlights have you all had on PrepSpin that ended up on ESPN?
We're stuck at 35 right now.
That's amazing.
35 top 10s, and that's not counting the several that we've had at the Legends, which I don't count that underneath ours because the Legend, we send that out on minor league baseball TV. So we've had a few of them. And then we did this thing in South Carolina raising funds. We worked with Debbie Antonelli of ESPN/CBS. She works with all of them. She does a lot of the college basketball stuff, both men's and women's, and she said they put a whole feature of their event on ESPN at some point that we did in South Carolina for them, so that was pretty cool.
That's awesome. And think about that, what you've got 35 kids out there locally, that have been on ESPN. It was pretty funny. I was sitting with some dads one night, and they said, well, talked about him being on there. And I said, well, that might be the highlight of his life. I hope not. But there's not a lot of people who can sit there and say, well, I've made top 10. So, and the only reason that happened, William, is because you all were there, and I appreciate it. I really do.
Well, again, we wouldn't be able to do what we do without your support. And, again, I don't want to make the show all about us. I want to make it about you and talk about finance here in sports, John. And, because I know there's a lot of knowledge that you can talk to people about. Let me pull up your website here so that people can see your website.
Okay.
And this is a still shot of your website here. You guys just really just redid that, and I'm not sure it's coming in all the way, like all the different graphics and things. I don't think it's all coming in on our feed here on the video, but you guys have redone your website. You've got a great marketing team. Emily does a great job over there with your marketing. And you're starting to put out a lot more content out there as well.
Yeah, and really what we want to do is have people informed. Right now, we just did a video, about a 12-minute video on coronavirus and how to deal with your creditors during this. What I don't want to see is I don't want to see a big uptick in bankruptcy because of this. What I want to see is people get through this and end up okay, So we talked about some things. We mentioned to people like, reach out to your creditors if things are going bad right now. Banks are willing to work with people if they know there's a problem. They don't just ignore it. You're talking about youth sports and finances, and I'll see a lot of parents making huge sacrifices to get to their kids opportunities, and that's awesome. But I also think as a society we've gotten a little out of hand with it too. We got to maybe kind of reel it back in every once in a while and say, okay, is this really, do they have to do the travel baseball, the travel soccer, or the travel whatever basketball to make sure that they're seen. You know, I think it helps, but it's not. So, you know, that's what I've seen actually the sacrifices they're willing to make. And if you can do it, do it. But don't do it because you think they're going to get a scholarship. Do it because you want to be an athlete and be good kids, you know.
Yeah.
Have the priorities correct.
Yeah,
you know, I did the math, and my daughter, like I said, does travel soccer. And we were at a tournament, and it was a state cup, and I didn't know much about soccer. I grew up in Springfield, Kentucky, and we don't talk about soccer. We didn't know what soccer was. They started talking about it. They said, well, you know, something about winning, and you're going to South Dakota. And Kentucky was having a good baseball season at the time. And I said, oh, so Kentucky could end up in South Dakota for the regionals. They're like, no, you're going to end up in South Dakota for the regionals. So I started doing the math on it in that season. Now, there were some things that we ended up doing, but it ended up being about an $8,000 season when you looked at all the travel, time, and then, the time away from home. So it's not something you can just look at and say, oh, we're just going to do travel soccer, do travel basketball. It's expensive.
Yeah, that's like a vacation for a couple families out there. You know, when you're talking about an $8,000 deal. I mean, you could definitely go down to Florida a couple times or something like that. You know, with a family of 5 or whatever. Exactly.
That's what when I started college, my dad told me I had $16,000 to get through on. Was $4,000 a year. Now that back a billion years ago, but I was able to do that. You know, $8,000 is a lot of money. Even today's dollars, it's a lot of money. So,
yeah.
It is. It's crazy.
Unless you go to Disney World, I found out that the hard way.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. $4 bottle of water and $6 popcorn, and no kidding. Yeah, they get you coming and going.
They do. So I've got some more highlights of your son on the football field, and I know right there at the I believe it was the last game of the season, maybe senior night.
Yep.
He had a heck of a shot there on senior night. Do you remember that?
You know what? I don't. What I'm having a problem with right now, William, is seeing you. So hold on just a second. Let me try something here. I don't want to dump you.
Okay.
Let me see something. Something happened on this computer.
Yeah, you cut in and out just a little bit, just a little while ago.
Let me try one more thing here. Hold on. Well, let me do this real quick.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and show a couple of these highlights.
You show it. Go ahead.
Okay. That was John Martin Sims coming up with the fumble there. And I believe actually that was, he recovers the fumble on that one. And then here's another one. This is Lexington Catholic taking on Covington Catholic, and there's John Martin Sims again coming up with a football. Outstanding athlete. I'm going to put you back on here. I can hear you now. There you go.
Good, okay, good. He had some good teammates where he was able to get that football out there, and he was able to go find it more than once. So I don't remember how he recovered this year, but it was quite a few.
Yeah, and then that basketball shot, I don't have it queued up here, but that basketball shot that he had in that senior game was something spectacular. And he kind of just looked over at the bench, which made it even real interesting and amazing. Was that he was just kind of in disbelief that he made that shot.
Yeah. That's one thing I can say as a parent, man. It's fun to watch an athlete on TV, but man, there's nothing like watching your own kid play a sport. Whether it's my daughter playing, soccer, or my other daughter, she does archery, which I don't, again, know nothing about. But seeing them get involved in something, that's a lot of fun, for sure.
I know you're with a good crowd over there at Lexington Catholic as far as the fan base goes, but, in your experience of going to games and stuff, have you heard a lot of bickering at the officials?
You do, and it's kind of disheartening, honestly, William. These officials are volunteers. When I found out what they get paid per game, I'm like, holy cow. I told a friend of mine, I said, well, I would do it for $2,000, and the only way I'd do it too is if I could tell parents that you can't say a word because It's hard. I mean, and man, you'll see it on both sides. I mean, I'll see our fans, you'll see other fans, and that's like I tell my kids. I said, if you're relying on an official to win or lose a game, you probably didn't do your job.
Yeah. Yeah. So, how can customers get in touch with you? People that just want to ask you questions. We know that stimulus is coming, and a lot of people may not know exactly how to spend that stimulus that they're going to be receiving.
Yeah, well, what they can do right now is, of course, they can reach us by phone. Easy number is call ask. And look, I'm not in the business of charging. I'm not a lawyer where I charge every time somebody calls. If you have a question about something, just have them call. Just call me. We're going to sit down and we're going to talk you through what your options are. And it doesn't have to be bankruptcy. It can just be a general question like, I got a creditor that I don't know what to do with because I can't afford to pay them right now, but I think I'll have it later. I'm going to recommend you reach out to them, talk to them. The stimulus will be interesting because, right now people need to worry about paying their mortgages, car payments.
Yeah.
If you got to let things slide, unfortunately those classic credit cards might be something to let slide. Pay them all if you can, for sure. But if you can't, take care of the priorities and take care of your family. You keep them fed. Don't make a sacrifice that you just can't ever. Don't think that you're making sacrifices to the detriment of your family that you can't ever get out of. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have a lot of leftover toilet paper right now. You see all those people hoarding the toilet paper, right? They're going broke on toilet paper.
Well, yeah, I saw a thing the other day and talking about how much toilet paper when people buy these things and how much they're going to use. I'm like, I don't know. That was one of those things too. It's kind of like with Andy Bashir being a sex symbol. I'm like, why is everybody buying all the toilet paper up? You go in there now and you don't see any.
I know what you're talking about. I saw it on Twitter. There's a guy that was doing the math on that. Yeah, that was pretty good tweet.
Yeah, it was a lot of visits per day by a family for them to use all the license plate people have. So, for sure.
Man.
Yeah.
So again, Atkinson, Sims, and Kermode, great partner of PrepSpin. You're a great friend to us as well. Personally. And then, we've got ties with your family. We obviously know, all your family, as far as your kids that play. I believe your daughter plays soccer.
That's right. She plays for Coach Quigley over there at Lexington Catholic. Sure does.
Yeah, and then, Chris over there at Frankfurt and, the lieutenant governor. I mean, my goodness, man.
We have a lot of time together.
It's amazing, and then your family watches from distances, and just amazing support that the Sims family and all your family has for sports.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we appreciate it. And like you talked about the grandparents, my kids' grandparents, two of them live in Florida part of the year, and they get to see a lot of the games. And man, they're always like, "Is PrepSpin going to be covering this one?" And you got to show some Chris's games this year. Of course, he has two sons on that team, so that's a nice thing to do too, William. Is you go out and you try to cover different parts of the state, and we appreciate that.
Chris had a really, really good team, that Frankfurt team, didn't he? He, obviously his two boys, Will especially, was amazing this year, taking charges like crazy. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
Somebody taught them well on taking charges.
They did. They were coached well by Chris. Between him and Jackson Smith over here at Lexington Catholic, I think he ended up tying the record for Lexington Catholic at 45. I don't know if you knew that.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Will's taking charges. I'm like, those guys got knocked more down times than you could count in a year. I mean, they took more charges than Kentucky took as a team this year between the two of them.
I think they went to. I believe that it truly is a thing. The LeBron School of Flop. What do you think?
I agree. That's right. That's right.
Oh man. Well, again, this is Talking Sports Podcast. Here we got John Sims of Atkinson, Sims and Kermode PLLC. You can reach them, and that number is call ask. If you're looking at your phone there, dial those digits, or you can, we'll give it to you. 859-225-5275 is the number.
That's right.
And what would you say? What would you encourage people to do right now, John? That may be a little nervous of calling.
I think what you need to understand is if you do call us, like I said, we're just going to talk to you. We're not going to suggest anything. We're not going to try to put people are going on. I got something tonight, and it talked about the stimulus package, and there's some great things out there for individuals. That you can take money out of your retirement account with no penalty if you have one. There's possibly I saw that they can't do evictions right now in the state of Kentucky, which I think is important. The problem that I worry about a little bit, William, is not knowing how long this is going to be. People are putting off bills, and when they do go back to work, they may not. They're going to pick up where they left off. They're not going to get more hours, so they might be behind. So I think the biggest thing they do at this point is stay in contact with those creditors, man. Just keep calling them and say, what can I do to make you okay?
And probably the important thing too is, if you're thinking about skipping out on your rent, that's probably not a good idea, because when this is over with, you got to still pay that rent, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah, they're going to want it back, just depending when. So yeah, I'd say the rent's one of the most. Rent and mortgages are important. Car payments are important. Everything else, I'm not saying let it go and pay it if you can, but if you those are the important things right now.
Yeah, I saw a tweet that Brian Kennedy of 36 had tweeted out, and he's talking about, this is connected to sports in a way, but NCAA, they're normally giving out $600 million to the Division I schools, and they said that they voted unanimously today to only give out $225 million.
What are they going to do? Did they not make it because of the tournament, or are they going to give it to other people?
I would imagine that it was because of the tournament. Not getting that kind of money and all those ad dollars and things like that in.
Well, I was talking to somebody today, and we talk about travel sports and youth sports. There's a lot of kids that have gone out and worked hard to raise money, or parents have paid in money to be a part of a team, and you hope they can get them in, but you wonder if people are going to start asking for their money back. I signed my son up for baseball here at Henry Clay. I didn't get my season. They're still paying coaches, and they're still trying to figure it out. They're going to say, we want our money back. Yeah. It's a challenge. I mean, there's going to be a lot of challenges for people, for sure.
I saw the Kentucky State baseball coach. He ended up giving, there were some advertisers that, sponsored the season, and he ended up giving some of that, or all of the advertising money back to those businesses.
Right, and that's tough. I mean, and that makes sense,
Yeah.
We bought some ads around town, and of course, I'm not going to ask for it back, but you do think about, well, it's kind of a lost season,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, man, have we missed anything here today? Have we talked about everything you wanted to talk about, or?
Yeah, I think we've covered it all. Oh, I do want to tell you a little story. I know you follow me on Twitter. This is kind of interesting. So I've been watching all the James Bonds with my kids. Okay,
that's right, James Bond.
Yeah, that's right. So we've been watching them all, and I've heard this, but I've gone online to verify it. There was a football player here back in the 20s at University of Kentucky named John Shipwreck Kelly. Well, he was at one point one of the leading rushers, and I think he had the leading. Somebody broke, and maybe R2 Spin or somebody, but he had the leading amount of yards in one game. All-American here. Well, he was raised with my grandfather. His middle name is actually Sim, so it's John Sim Shipwreck Kelly. Was kind of a different type guy. Owned the New York Giants for a while. Married a lady by the name of Brenda Frazier. Apparently was a spy during World War II.
Wow.
Well, he and Ian Fleming were friends, and they played cards together down in Nassau, Bahamas. Well, there's a book out there that says Ian Fleming based some of his James Bond stuff off of John Shipwreck Kelly, who's a former player at the University of Kentucky. So
let me I'm going to show the folks out there a couple pictures of this guy that you're talking about here, so we can. I just pulled these off Google just now, so
yeah.
Here we go.
That's him.
That's him, and then here's a picture of him actually Looks like maybe he's kicking or something there.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what he's doing there. Yeah, he. I hope so. I don't know if he's that or dancing.
It looks like the Karate Kid, doing that crane kick or something.
That's right. That's right. I can remember as a kid, he'd come to our house and he'd sit out front of the car. It seemed like he was always in like a Cadillac or something. He'd sit out front. My dad, he wouldn't come in our house. He'd have to go outside and sit in the car with him. He was a different type fella, but it's kind of interesting story that's a tie back to Ian Fleming and the University of Kentucky. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, you've been talking a lot about those James Bond movies. Have you caught up to the one that they filmed in Kentucky yet?
Yeah, Goldfinger. No, yeah, Goldfinger. Yes, and it was really good. It's like the second or third one, I think, and it was probably one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it because you see Bluegrass Field way back in the day. I think that they also show the Red Mile a little bit, and then Fort Knox.
That's right. Exactly. That's
yeah.
Exactly right. It's definitely shot in Kentucky. It's like they didn't try to make someplace else look like Kentucky. It was Kentucky. So.
Yeah, and how about that horse? I wonder where that horse farm is that they filmed that at.
Hey, I wonder if it is out there near the Red Mile or something. Of course, I guess it was shot in the '60s. So who knows if that farm's still even there? I don't know.
There's that one scene where all those windows start to close there, and that horse. It's almost like it was a Transformer type of.
Right.
Man.
Well, they did a great job on that one. That's for sure.
I'm going up to Hallway Feeds tomorrow. You know the guys over at Hallway Feeds, and I'm going to ask them. I bet you that Mr. Bob or Lee Hall would know about that. I'm going to find out.
I bet they do. Now, I know they work with you, and those are good fellas right there.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's in the business of needing horse feed, but, man, I tell you what, every time I talk to Lee, I'm like, who y'all fed this year? They're always win the derbies. I mean,
American Pharoah, probably one of their biggest horses, and then just everybody. They've got a whole wall of nothing but winners.
Right, exactly right. Good family business there, and I'm sure this one of these businesses that are being hurt a little bit right now. The good thing is people are feeding their horses.
Yeah.
But it's tough, So we're all going to get through this together, though.
Yeah, I think they're rocking over there. I was over there. We did a live tour, and I believe that business is going good for them because they were making the feed. That's for sure.
That's good. Well, they're doing it the right place in the state of Kentucky.
Yes, sir. Well, I got a feeling a lot of folks are going to be calling you and asking you questions, and probably tweeting about you too, just like they tweet about Andy. I imagine.
I doubt it. But anybody that needs to call me, they call me. It's not a problem. We're like I say, we're not seeing anybody in person right now, but we're by our phones and we're there to help people right now.
John Sims, I always appreciate talking to you and everything that you do for us here on PrepSpin.
Well, William, thanks for all y'all do, and let's get the sports back going, and we'll see you in the fall. Hopefully, we'll get some soccer and some football games going there.
Yes, sir. We'll see you.
All right. Thanks. Take care, sir.
All right, you too. John Sims right there with Atkinson, Sims, or Kermode. Atkinson, Sims, or Kermode, PLLC. If you're thinking about bankruptcy, give my good friend John Sims a call. He'll take care of you, answer all your questions for you. And, again, call ASK. That's the number. You can also get online and check out their website, ask-law. Atkinson, Sims, or Kermode. And with that being said, we're going to step out just for a second, and I'm going to tell you about the Bluegrass Night of Champions, Bluegrass Orthopedics Night of Champions that's coming up. We got some award winners to tell you about here in just a second. So we'll be right back here again on Talking Sports here on PrepSpin.
At Atkinson, Sims, and Kermode, we're here to help you get back to what matters most.
Helping you through your financial situation is our only purpose. We are involved at every step, guiding you towards relief.
A better life can't exist after bankruptcy. Start your bankruptcy for as little as $78. Call us today and take the first step towards a new beginning.
The heart of an athlete is inside us all. Determined to succeed. We are united by one common goal. Sometimes we fall short, but we get back up, and that makes us stronger. This is more than a job, more than a game. This is our life.
All right, back here live from the Bluegrass Orthopedics studio, BGO studio right here on PrepSpin. Also want to get a lot of love and thanks to our title sponsor here on the network, Mingy Beef Jerky, the official game day snack of PrepSpin. Mingy Beef Jerky, it's the best beef jerky on the planet, and they have got it fully stocked now at all the convenience stores and Kroger's. I was down at Kroger's earlier today, and Mingy is fully stocked down at Kroger, so you can go check them out and grab some right there. I want to announce again, we did this earlier on the first show today, but I want to go ahead and do it again, is the Bluegrass Orthopedics Night of Champions. Here you'll see it, the logo there, Bluegrass Orthopedics Night of Champions. Always a great night, and we got some award winners to tell you about. And we'll start with Western Hills. Logan Thomas, she is the Comeback Champion Award winner for female. And she's got a great story to tell. We're going to wait till the Night of Champions to tell you about it. But she is going to be the Comeback Champion Award winner. And then we also got Jace Bowling out of South Laurel, the South Laurel Cardinals. He, as you see there with the prosthetic leg, is a basketball player and does outstanding things, and he has a great story. He is the comeback champion for the male version of the award. So congratulations to Jace and to Logan for winning those awards. They were nominated by their school, their athletic director, or their coaches. And, again, want to thank them and just celebrate their achievement as BGO honors them on this great night. Here's some other achievement award winners. Bourbon County High School, Austin Lay. Boyle County High School's got a couple in Eli Goggin and also Ferris Alaham. Then you got Dunbar High School, Peyton Gash. Estill County High School, Kaylee Riddle. George Rogers Clark High School, Hannah Curry. And then you got Henry Clay with a couple of Achievement Award winners, Buddy Goodwin and Olivia Grinke. Then you got Henry Clay also with Van McKinley. Lexington Catholic's got Alexis Brock. Lexington Christian Academy's got a couple when you talk about Alicia White and Mackenzie Buckler. Then you got Madison Southern High School, Destiny Dooley. Sayre High School has got Maggie Little. And then Scott County High School, Philip Gardner. Now, again, this is the Bluegrass Orthopedics Night of Champions. And this event, the date will be announced here shortly. We had to move it back a little bit because of the coronavirus, but we definitely want to celebrate these athletes and get them these awards when everything clears, when we get the clear from the governor, Andy Beshear. And, man, I tell you what, this is going to be a great night, and we're going to broadcast it here live on PrepSpin. They do a great job with that. And, they set up, in this great ballroom atmosphere. They have these tables that are out with candlelight dinners. And, a couple projectors up going on. And then you got normally Brian Milam. He's been the host of the event ever since its inception 3 years ago. And then you got keynote speakers. Well, this year's keynote speaker, last year we had a great one in Jacob Tammy. This year's keynote speaker is none other than Dallas Robinson. That's your keynote speaker right there. And we're excited to have Dallas join us. So we're going to have a great evening at the Bluegrass Orthopedics Night of Champions to celebrate all those athletes. Again, I want to thank my special guest here tonight, Mr. John Sims of Atkinson, Sims & Kermode. Again, if you're thinking about bankruptcy, give them a call. Even if you just have some questions, and you're uncertain and you got uncertain times right now, a lot of you do, give them a call at Call Ask, and they'll take care of you. That's Atkinson, Sims, and Kermode, PLLC, 859-225-5275. That's my good friends over there in Atkinson, Sims, and Kermode, proud partners with us here on PrepSpin. That's going to do it for me here tonight. Again, thanks to everybody for tuning in. Kevin Roberts, I got all your messages there. You love the James Bond talk. A lot of folks were watching here tonight. You guys are amazing and always are. And we appreciate all the love and support. This is William Warfield, the King of String. I'll see you guys next time.